Hi, I'm back on another update. This is 8 days since I had my cast removed. Still not seen any physiotherapist yet. Usually, when I broke my leg sort of 4 years ago, the cast was taken off, and then I was taken next door. I had to sit outside and wait, and go in. Saw the physiotherapist, but did some stretching on my ankle and taught me some exercises that I could try and do to get some mobility back. And I was booked in a week later to go and see him. Well, the day I had my cast off at clinic, the physiotherapist phoned in sick, so there was no one to see. Doctor just said just go home and use it as normal, which is completely impossible because my arm had been in the cast for 8 weeks. 2 weeks they set it, and I had a couple of x-rays, but it kept on slipping. So then they decided then they were going to operate. So I went in the next day and they put wires in, which were in for 4 weeks. I had them removed, and then I had another cast on for 2 weeks, which was removed last week. And as I said, still no physiotherapist, not seen anyone. So the only advice I found really is to look on Google and YouTube and exercise and what other people are doing. This is also why I decided to do these series of videos, because everyone seemed to have a lot more mobility in their hand than I did, because they were showing it a lot further on in their treatment. So that's why last week I filmed it to show how little mobility I had in my hand, how hard it was to move. And now this is the one how I've progressed a week later. Still not had any physio. Did phone to find out when I could get an appointment. They've told me I'm on a waiting list, but I could be on the waiting list for 3 to 4 weeks. And so it's virtually just waiting to get a letter for an appointment now. So everything I've just done myself, really, just looking on there. Want to see a physio because I'm a bit worried I'm going to over push things or do things wrong. I don't want to do any more damage. So I've just sort of started with the basic things to get my fingers moving and stuff like that, and slight exercises on my wrist. But hopefully it'll all get better when I see physio. So as you saw last week, I could barely move my hands at all. So this is where I am today. It's still very stiff on the wrist. I can get some mobility in it. I can drop it down. But going up, that's about as far as I can get. My fingers, though, which I couldn't move at all last week, have gone a lot better. You know, I got a thing, I can move my thumb, if you can see it there. Hard to film, not great light today. But, you know, they are moving. Still can't make a fist. That's about as far as I can go. And I've been trying to do some stretching exercises when you put your thumb, but still a long way to go. But I work on these about 4 or 5 times a day. And when I'm sitting down, I tend to make a fist and, you know, sort of squeeze my hand over it to try and get some strength. But I still can't do that. My claw is, that's about it. To get them moving, I started just by massaging underneath, trying to bend that finger over, massaging and just working along my fingers. So they have loosened up a fair bit, but I still can't hold anything. I bought myself some stress balls so I could squeeze them, but at the moment I can't get them in my hand. They're way too small. So I've been using a ball of wool. I get a ball of wool because I've always been a knitter and crochet, so I've got plenty here. And I've been sort of holding that in and sort of gripping on that. So they're getting there, but everything is very slowly. One of the exercises I do as well is I support my hand and I'm dropping my fingers down and stretching them down as far as they can go. Also, I put my fingers up like that, and then I push this way and I'm trying to push back, but it's very tight and I'm a bit worried to overforce it in case I do more damage here. That's why I think seeing a physio, talking to a physio, you know, being told really what to do would help me get the best out of that. But, you know, as they say, it's still early days. It's only a week since the cast is off and it did go through a lot. My wounds are healing up, you know, really well. But I still get a lot of pain here around the base of my thumb, if you can see. all around there. When I was in the cast, it got trapped a lot, and I've always had a lot of pain all the time I was in the past. So I'm finding it hard while I am doing the exercises. This is where it's catching a lot. What I've been using is every night it likes to swell up, so I've gone and bought my, a nice pack. I put that on, it helps the swelling go down, also helps the movement then, so about 6 o'clock, it's fine all day, about 6 o'clock, I get a really fat hand, it gets very uncomfortable, so this has been a godsend. I've also got a heat pad, and this is brilliant. This is a wheat one. Put it in the microwave, and it always comes out a bit damp, which has always annoyed us in the past, but because of the hand, the moisture is just wonderful. I sort of lay it over the hand, lay it over my wrist or my fingers, and it warms the joints up, and I find, they're much easier to move after having the heat pad on for a little bit. So all that, I would advise to do. Hot and cold treatment is wonderful. Sleeping in bed was a nightmare, so I bought myself one of these off Amazon, and you just slip it on. It gives you that bit of support. It goes over your thumb, and you do it. I won't put it on now because it takes me ages. But I did find, the first night, as I said, I slept, no support, no nothing, just like that. But my hand dropped, it all froze up. It was so painful to wake up in the next morning and just try and get it moving again. And I kept waking up in the night because it was just so uncomfortable. So this is why on Amazon, I'll put a link in the description box. I ordered that, and it was wonderful. For the first couple of nights, I was able to put that on, kept my wrist nice and stable, and I could sleep and move, and I didn't have to worry about knocking it when I'm asleep. And it did make a difference to me. Also, I think I'll wear it when I start going driving, not for a while though, but when I start driving or going out more and I need a bit of support, I think that's going to be wonderful because my fingers can move in it, my thumb can move in it, but it just keeps all this a bit stable to stop you jarring it and knocking it. So, they're worth thinking out. But, this is what I do. I sit down and I wiggle my hands, or I push down onto my hands to get the fingers moving. But as I said, I support my hands and try and push up to loosen across here, but it's very stiff. It's starting to go, and it's not as painful as it was, but I think I've got a way to go yet. And I said, hoping by the next time, I've heard from the physiotherapist, and maybe I've had a chance to go and talk to him. But yes, it's coming along, but and I can turn it a bit like that, but it's taken a while. So I can't see it being back to normal in a couple of weeks or so. But thanks for watching, and I'll come back in a week or so, and hopefully it's a lot better. But I'm pleased how it's going at the moment, and if anyone's going through this, it is hard, but just keep putting up with it, and hopefully we'll get there in the end. Thank you.